everybody, Cheaply Chic Lynette. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm excited to share with you a few simple, quick ideas that you can use to fill your junk journals. Right now I'm currently working on this strawberry collection that you see here. I'm almost finished with them. I'm not quite finished. I'm currently making ephemera and little things and bits and gathering things that I can stick inside of them. But I'm so excited. I wanted to give you guys a little sneak peek. I had this linen in my stash. This is the piece that she had gotten the most work done on. And then some of the other ones, she hadn't quite finished the stitching, whoever had started this tablecloth. But I still thought it was beautiful and it would still make a beautiful cover. So I just wanted to give you guys a little peek into these journals. I also lined the top of it with some vintage trim that my mom shared with me. I love these. Super cute. I also have a few of these little mini journals I'm working on. I didn't really plan on these becoming full-size journals. Look at that adorable stamp. They aren't eating strawberries, but I still thought that was such a cute stamp to put in here. But I have my sewing done, my trims added, stamping done. This is a little paper bag journal. I've made a little pocket here in the back, and then of course the hidden pocket here at the top and the open cover here in the front. These are so much fun. So again, this is another vintage fabric that I had in my stash and more of that vintage trim. I do plan on making some charms for these, and I haven't quite picked out the dangles yet, but I am loving how they're coming along. But I thought today I would just share with you some of the simple ephemera ideas that anyone could do, anyone could fit into their journals, and they are specifically strawberry themed because that's what I've been working on here. I also want to mention that these are things that I pretty much return to on a regular basis. These are things that I think adds a lot of texture and interest to a journal page. So these are things that I like to do pretty regularly. So the first thing I had in my stash that I think I'm really blessed to have been able to find were some of these beautiful wallpapers. I actually found this years ago, but it is a daisy and strawberry print wallpaper roll. This is pretty self-explanatory. I personally love using a file folder base because I've picked up so many of them at the thrift store, and then I just glue them down to some wallpaper and run them through the sewing machine. Another type of tag that I enjoyed making this time around, and an idea in case you don't have any wallpaper in your stash, or especially something that matches your theme that you're going for, is to use wrapping paper. Of course, you can use any type of paper. There's scrapbooking paper, there's all kinds of different paper, but specifically this time around, I had some vintage wrapping paper in my stash that I had again found at a thrift store years ago. I didn't have very much, and I had wanted to include a piece of it in my journals here. I made a page out of it in my journals, and I didn't have very much. I think I only had a square and a half, like a piece and a half left from that package. So instead of covering the whole tag, this time I just cut it down to be framed inside of a tag. This is just a regular manila tag. I added a couple pieces of a tape runner here so I didn't have the wrinkly glue look on this thin wrapping paper. And then I ran it through my sewing machine again, just like the previous tags. I think it's really fun if you're out thrifting to look for different textures of paper, which is why wallpaper and gift wrap can be so much fun. Another simple, easy idea that can add a lot of interest is decorating envelopes. These are just, again, some thrifted envelopes that I picked up over the years. Actually, these were not thrifted. These are some envelopes that came in a card set back when Target Dollar Spot used to have adorable stationery. Here, I just added some simple washi that I had in my stash. These adorable little postal washi stamps. Here I've done the same thing. One of the other things I love to do, probably even more so than washi, is adding ribbons and trims to my envelopes. These are just some vintage envelopes that again came from an old stationery set. I don't think I had the stationery anymore, but that pink color just matched these journals perfectly. So just to add another little filler piece that I can use later in my journal pocket or on a journal page. Sometimes you don't have to embellish every single piece of ephemera because you want to be able to layer different things. So I could add this envelope here with these ribbons and then clip another piece of ephemera over the top. So I don't like to over decorate everything that I'm adding to my journal. These embellishments took me a little bit longer to make, but I had so much fun creating them. So I picked up these cards at Dollar General, believe it or not. I haven't seen them on YouTube, and I was so excited to see them in my store. So in Dollar General, at least when I was there a couple weeks ago, they had this section full of summer barbecue picnic type items, and they were really pretty colors, pink, yellow, green, everything matched. And then they happen to have these card decks in with that stuff. So if you're in Dollar General, take a peek and see if they have any of these in your store as well. What I loved about them, especially for this collection, but what I really loved about them is the fact that they are pink. I did not know that there were blue ones as well. They were hidden away in the back of the deck when I was looking at them in the store. And I think these were less than $2. They were $1 and some change for a deck of these cards. So I was so excited. They're also a little oversized, so they make great bases for any type of journaling ephemera, and that's what I'm going to play with today. As many of you already know, one of the items that can be really fun for altering our playing cards and other things that we're making into journal cards and collages is tea bags. tea bags that we've already used to dye our paper, if you just set them aside on the counter and let them dry, then you can cut them open after they've dried and just dispose of the tea that's inside. You don't really want to re-wet that paper because it's going to lose the tea stain that's happened, but it is really fun if you cut them apart and clean them out. You are able to use them like a napkin and decoupage on your projects. So I'm getting my card ready. I've added the back of my playing card to a piece of avocado dyed paper so I can create a journaling card out of this. I'm inking up the card and then I'm going to run it through my sewing machine. And now I'm going to play with that tea bag. So I'm just ripping this into little pieces. I want to do just a little bit of collaging on this card just to add some interest. So I'm going to add a strip up at the top. I'm also going to make a smaller strip and add it here to the bottom. Now you can use a lot of different things to decoupage this down. I happen to have this Distress Collage medium. It's from Tim Holtz. It is my favorite, but most of the time I never do this kind of thing frequently enough and it dries out. So this is what I'm going to use. If you don't have this, you can use Mod Podge. If you don't have Mod Podge, you can water down a little bit of white glue and it's going to work just as well for you. I have this pretty piece of sari silk in my stash and I like the way that the green colors matches the journals that I'm working on. So I'm just going to add a little bit of my art glitter glue. I like art glitter glue a lot because it does dry clear like Fabri-Tac will do, but it also doesn't have that thick consistency. So I've been playing with this glue a lot lately. I sped this video up and I did need to cut out a little bit of me just waiting for that ribbon to stick down to the card. So this might take a little bit more time than you see me doing, but just play around with your ribbon, squish it down, fold it over itself. It just makes a really pretty element at the top corner of your card. Now I decide to just grab this little piece of crochet doily out of my stash. I also have some of this ephemera from a past scrapbooking kit that I picked up last year that happened to be strawberry themed, and I'm just going to make a little embellishment here at the top. So that's how I created this sweet little journaling card here. And I added the avocado dyed paper to the back. Again, just that pale pink color. And then I had so much fun creating all of these different journaling cards. Just playing around with some snippets of doily and ribbon and then that ephemera that I had in my stash. And again, those playing cards are so sweet and fun. Getting into the last little embellishment that I made for these journals, I enjoyed making these a lot and I had a lot of fun with these. So they're just paper bags. This is a little paper treat bag that we all get on Amazon or at the craft store. They sell them sometimes. I just wanted to share with you my process for how I added the fabric to these bags because I think it's a good idea and a good reference for anytime you have a thin piece of material that you don't want your glue to show through. But then I had this tablecloth in my stash. I actually really kind of hated cutting this one up because I remember growing up with this. in my mom's living room. Mom, remember this one? So this was on one of our tables. But what I loved about it, it's a round pattern, and I cut out the little pineapple stitches or the leaf stitches, whatever you want to call those, whatever those are called, because I thought maybe I've just been staring at strawberries for too many days in a row, but I thought that kind of resembled a strawberry. Tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if you see it. Tell me if you don't see it. I asked my friend Jenny if she saw it, and she said at first she didn't, but now she can't unsee it. And then I asked my husband if he thought it looked like a strawberry, and he couldn't see it at all. So maybe it's just me. Maybe I've stared at it too long, but I thought this little piece resembled the shape of a strawberry. What I especially liked about it was this part up here could be the topper, that's the little stem, and of course that's the berry aspect of the doily piece. Because it's a bag, I didn't want to try stitching it or adding anything to it to give it more of a strawberry appearance, but I did think maybe it would help if I added a sweet little bow to the top, and maybe that would make it look a little more strawberry. Anyway, let's get into how I made these. Heat and Bond Light is something that I very much enjoy using in my journal making. I make a lot of fabric covers with this product. I enjoy adding scrapbook paper to the opposite side of my fabric, and since I don't really enjoy seeing the glue marks, a lot of fabrics can be thin. If it's a thicker fabric, I don't really mind using glue, but when they're thin, I don't enjoy personally seeing the glue on the thin fabric, so Heat and Bond Light works great. Now there are two different types of Heat and Bond. One is regular, and that is not sewable. You can't sew on that, it's too thick. So you want to be sure to pick up the Heat and Bond Light if you like sewing and adding sewing to your fabric. So here I am using Heat and Bond Light, and you have to use this with an iron. So I'm melting the one side to my fabric piece. Then you just peel off the protective layer, and then you're going to add that fabric piece to the bag or whatever it is you're creating. I mentioned that tablecloth with the doilies that I cut apart earlier, and now we're just going to glue those down to the bag. I mentioned that art glitter glue dries clear, and I really like it. It's very flexible, so I'm just spreading that out a little bit across my doily piece, and I'm just going to stick it down on my bag.
The light is fading fast from this old town, we gotta go. Our bags are packed, so what we waiting for? There's no point in delaying what we both already know. Escape this time with me. Escape this time with me.
To help these little strawberries look a little more berry-like, I just thought it would be fun to add a little bow to the top of the berry. I did create these bows off camera, and then I just glued it down. You have to allow a little bit of time to dry, but I think tucked inside a journal, these will be fine. So I'm just adding the bows and trimming them down.
With me. Escape this time with me. Nowhere else to be. Escape this time with me.
Alright, you guys, and that is everything I have to share today for Junk Journal Ephemera. Quick, simple, easy ideas that you can use to fill your journals, and just a reminder of different textures and elements that can be a lot of fun to add to your journals, even if they are simple to put together. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch today. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to hit that like button. It helps others find my videos as well. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I will see you next time. Bye.